I'd certainly start with, I'm really proud of our basketball team. I mean, I feel like we played with a lot of energy. I felt like we played with a lot of heart. There was times when we were down as many as 9 and 10. It kind of fluctuated there. We got a cut all the way down to 4. Gave up a 3. My memory serves me correct. But all in all, for this team not having played but 2 games, and where we're at right now, certainly we're far from where we want to be, but I think for the most part, the effort part of it's there, and I think the camaraderie with them knowing how to play together for the most part's there. Now the execution part's not there. The ability for us to rebound the basketball is not there, and certainly we've given up seems like a zillion offensive rebounds in only the 2 games. Defensively, I feel like we're probably ahead of the game, I've been more so than offensively, from the way we've been able to turn people over, steals. Now, the bad part of that is that I don't feel like we're doing as good of a job as we should converting our defense into our offense, converting once we get the basketball stolen. So, with all that, shoot away with any questions that you have.
Describe, or what do you think is the reason for the turnovers? Playing too fast, inexperience, both?
I do, Chris. I think it's both. I think at this level, Division I, NCAA Division I basketball, a lot of these kids, they're freshmen, haven't played in a year or both. I think they don't realize how fast and how athletic this game moves at this level, and therefore they don't see the things that they should see when throwing a pass and thinking that that the next person's going to be open, and there's just too much distance. There's too much recoverability time and space at this level. So I do think it's that, and I also think that it's at several times tonight, we shot ourselves in the foot by trying to make the home run pass, make the home run play, and instead of just kind of keeping our poise and settling down and running what we needed to run and executing it. Or, I thought there, for the most part of the game, I felt like we did a pretty good job of attacking and getting to the free throw line. But I think that answered your question.
Discuss the difficulty in matching up with their 3-point shooters, or especially early.
Just not talking. I mean, just lack of communication. I think that, they're so, again, their youth shines through in the fact that, they think, oh, that's my man. It doesn't matter whose man it is. The only thing that scores in this game is the basketball. And in transition, we talk about it every single day. Protect basket, stop ball. Work your way outside, inside out. And then, obviously when we get there, then you're going to guard outside in, and move with the basketball. As I'm sitting here telling you, and for the life of us as a staff, all that sounds really easy. And sometimes I do think we make it probably more difficult than it should be. But, repetition, that's what we need right now. We need a lot of repetitions, we need a lot of practice to continue to get better. But again, I think that answers your question, and just the fact that, I don't think for any stretch of the imagination, for the most part, it's not effort. It's sometimes I think it's a lack of accountability of being willing to go out there, put yourself on that island, and say, hey, I got it. And and then let the rotation, do what it's supposed to do. And that's guard the ball, guard one pass away, guard the basket, being held. And that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter if it's man or zone. That's the same basic principles.
Coach, P had mentioned earlier about the last 3 minutes of the game. When you all were trying to stop, not give up, score a basket or a rebound all on the other end, and then get the ball out quick and get a quick, good shot. Communications, once again, was a key toward finishing tonight. And somewhere along the way, once again, they broke down at the wrong time.
Yeah, I agree, Jerry. I mean, I think that there were some times where, certainly we were no more than 3 possessions away with plenty of time to come back and tie the game or take the lead. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. We were sitting there trying to communicate and trying to go and trying to do. And obviously she fouled out of the game, and with her not being in the game towards the stretch run, that makes it a lot more difficult for us. And certainly playing a high caliber SEC team with basically a true freshman backcourt. I looked out on the floor tonight, and I mean, at any given time, we had 4 freshmen on the floor at one given time, point in time of the game, which it may hurt a little bit right now, but certainly I think it's going to, it's certainly going to pay off in the big picture and in the long run. But yeah, it did. When you don't have when you don't have P on the floor towards the end, you're trying to communicate. It makes it a little more difficult. And even when P was in the game, I felt like we really didn't execute the way that we really should have for the most part. I mean, we're trying to run some simple drag stuff, just bring the ball down and just follow it and set a ball screen, and they weren't really handling it very well. And I didn't think we were running it and executing it the way we should for the most part. But the other part of it is that I didn't feel like that we had, I guess for lack of a better way to put it, I didn't think our sense of urgency was at the level that it needed to be for point time of the game, execute. And then certainly, I didn't think we did a very good job at all with keeping our poise.
With as many new faces on the floor, not just on the team, these early games, it's pretty much a learning moment and a teaching moment for everybody to learn each other's pretty much eye-to-eye contact or body language, either from the sideline or on the floor. How quickly do you hope that group comes together before conference play?
I'd like for it to be tomorrow. Now, how realistic that is probably not very realistic. I think you hit the nail right on the head. We as coaches, we always split this thing up in 3 parts. You have your non-conference, your conference regular season, and then you have your postseason. And my thoughts and hopes have always been that if we can get there certainly before we go home for Christmas, for the 3 or 4 days we're going to go home for Christmas. So that's by or before, certainly no later than December 22nd when we play Texas State. Sometime between tonight and that game right there is the point in time where I'm hoping that we'll be able to add some more depth. We'll get Tasha Tubbs back. I think Tyler has been put in a situation where it's taken so long of the process to be at the NCAA to get her to practice the reps that she needs to be a part of this. So I think when you immediately add those 2 pieces to the puzzle, and then obviously we get Destiny come December 22nd. There's 3 really, really nice pieces to the puzzle of our basketball team that we don't have and haven't had, that I think that will give us that depth that we've been talking about. We're not quite there yet. Very obvious. I think that another thing that certainly Destiny and Tyler will bring to our basketball team is the ability to rebound. In which again, tonight we actually out-rebounded them overall, but we can't give up 32 offensive rebounds. We've given up 62 offensive rebounds in 2 games, which is absolute asinine.
Anybody, anything else?
The girls spoke of playing championship basketball every night. Could you elaborate a little bit more on your philosophy, and is that of course that's what needs to be done in this time period between December 22nd, but what I'm asking is that what more does the girls need to do to buy into it? Instead of mentally, but more, I guess, buy into it on the court.
You talk about my philosophy just from a coach, from
As a coach.
how we want to play.
Championship basketball every game.
And, I think that it's. This probably sounds old. It sounds probably cliche-ish, but I think when you're a championship team, you play with poise, you play with confidence, you play with some swag, you play with that Can the ability to do all the little things, to do the intangibles. Hey, if I need to go get 17 rebounds and play, 39 minutes like, YT did tonight, that's what you did. I think there's so many things that are beyond the X's and O's of playing championship basketball. And I think that for the most part, I feel like our kids have bought into that. Now I think that they have to also understand and buy into, and it really hasn't been a thing of not buying in, it's just the ability to understand, comprehend, and then demonstrate performance perfected on the court. And sometimes there's a very fine line between, those 3 or 4 phases. But I do. I think we are. I really, I think there's, at least a couple of those phases. I think we're really, really close. For us to out-rebound a team like that, I think that's that's certainly one phase that, we didn't do at Mississippi State. We got to the foul line. Now we just got to cash in on it. We can't go. We can't go 15 of 27 from the free throw. That's the game. That's the ball game. We turned them over, 21 times? 27 times to ours? So there's a differential of 6 right there. And then, we're 1 of 11 from 3. And, that's the one thing going into this year, I would have not thought for the life of me that we would be, I think we were 5 of 23 at Mississippi State, and then tonight we're 1 of 11. I would have never thought that. And again, I think that's the youth. And again, I'm not making any mistakes, don't make no bones about that, but I do think, that's another part of it, trying to play too fast, trying to make that home run play. And we had probably at least a couple different opportunities tonight to where if just a couple more of them go in, I think the tide changes, dramatically. I think we're right there, and I think we obviously would have certainly had our opportunity to win the basketball game. So again, I don't think it's as much about buying in as it is of learning how to play the game at this level and learning what all the intangibles are to be a championship team. I'll end answering your question with this statement. I feel like with all my heart we have the talent and we have the pieces to the puzzle, either playing now or on the way when they get eligible and those kind of things to be a championship caliber team.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.